Well, hello, this is Rob, Travels with Dottie, and I have another 10 things that you need to know about Quartzsite before you go version for the 2024-2025 season. It's pretty much the same as the one from last year with a few minor changes for current events in Quartzsite, and I'm going to do my best here to give you all the things you should know, especially if you've never been to Quartzsite before and you're thinking about going this year. You're thinking about the RV life, you're thinking about all the people, RVers and full-timers and vacationers that gather in Quartzsite every year. It's really a pretty cool thing. So number one is Quartzsite, Arizona is a little town with a population permanent of 2,400 people that is off Interstate 10 in southwestern Arizona. It's only, if you head west on I-10 from Quartzsite, you can be in California in just about 30 minutes. You can be in New Mexico in about an hour and 20 minutes. You can hit the Mexico border, so that's where it is. And what's special about Quartzsite? Well, there are quite a number of things. I told you, 2,400 population, a really pretty small town, except in the winter, and except really January and February, the population explodes with visitors, and there are legitimate estimates that put the number at 1.5 million visitors. So like 2,400 to 1.5 million, where did they put them all? Really good question. Well, there are a couple good answers to that. One is, if you like RV parks, there are over 50 of them. I came across a list where I think I counted 52 RV parks. Someone told me today that the Chamber of Commerce is quoting more like 75 RV parks. I don't know how accurate that is, but I do know the 50, at least 50 is absolutely accurate. So there are RV parks to stay in all over the town, in the middle of town. But more importantly, maybe more significantly, the whole area has 11,400 acres of BLM federal land that you're allowed to camp on. 11,400 acres right just around Quartzsite. There's areas to the north, areas to the south, and they're split into two different kinds of areas. One is just straight BLM dispersed camping areas that are free to camp in, and you can get a free permit to stay up to 14 days. After 14 days, if you want, you have to move. If you want to move, you have to move 25 miles away, which is going to put you outside of the immediate Quartzsite area. And then another 14 days, you can move again, you can move back. For people like me, I want to stay the whole season. I want to come in the middle of November and stay till March. The BLM has special areas called LTVA, long-term visitor areas, and there are 4 of them right in Quartzsite. There are 2 of them just bordering the south side of Quartzsite, and you go a few miles further, there are 2 more. And you can buy a permit there to camp for 2 weeks at a time for $40, or you can do the whole season like I do for $180. And that gives me not only access to the LTVAs that are the 4 of them that are in Quartzsite, but are also there's other ones further down south near Yuma and Southern California. I don't know off the top of my head the total number, it's like 7 or 8 of them, I think. But you can use that one permit to hop from one to another. I stay in Ltva South, which is not one of the ones right on the border of Quartzsite. That's 2 or 3 miles out, and it's a very well-known one. In past years, there's the access there to dump stations, fresh water, and dumpsters. I don't know exactly what's happening this year because as of last year, there was another LTVA Tyson Wash right across the street from Ltva South So that's Ltva Tyson Wash, where they were in the midst of constructing brand new stations for dump stations. And I don't know whether they're going to be open at the beginning of the season or not. If anybody knows for sure about that, please put it in the comment. It'll be a real help to everybody. But as of the end of the season last year, you had to use the Ltva South stations. So these BLM areas and LTVAs are what they call dispersed camping. They're no designated individual campsites. You just kind of go out into the desert and find your spot. And you can't plug into electricity. There's no water at the sites. There's a water station where you can drive up and you can fill your rig or fill containers with water. And also there are dumpsters where you can put trash, and of course the gray water and black water dump stations. But otherwise, you're camping sort of free form, and the only rule about that is you need to be at least 15 feet from someone else's campsite. So you can't just go up to a stranger and park right next to them. You have to be at least 15 feet away. And that's the technical rule. There's so much room out there that you really don't want to go 15. You want to go more than 15 feet away from people that you don't know. And there's plenty of room to do that. There are rules and there are etiquette things. And that's one of the etiquette things. Now, you'll see a lot of people camped pretty close together. And that's a sign that these are people that are intentionally camping in a group together. And they may even violate the 15-foot rule if they're friends and they want to be right next to each other, and no one's probably going to bother them about the 15 feet. So you really need, if you're going to be out there, and they call that boondocking, where you don't have hookups, you really need to have access to resources like power. You don't have to, but to be comfortable, you should have a power bank, solar power, maybe a generator. There are generator hours. You can't operate the generator at night and real early in the morning. I believe it's 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. are the quiet hours. You can't run a generator. So have access to power. I'm sure if you have a rig, you have fresh water tanks, you have access to water, you can go to this dump station, and trust me, you can be very comfortable for the whole season out there. One thing that I'll warn you about, it's going to be colder at night than you expect. You're going to need a source of heat during the night, no matter what kind of rig that you're in. And if you're new and you think that your 12-volt deep cycle battery is going to run your onboard propane furnace, which has a fan that runs, if you think that battery's going to last you all night, you're going to be up for a rude awakening. And the awakening will be 3 or 4 in the morning when your teeth are chattering in bed and your battery is depleted, so it won't run the furnace. So be aware of that. I know it's a propane furnace, but the average number of amps that fan uses is 7.5, and the colder it is outside, the more that 7.5 amp fan is going to be going. So there are lots of alternatives that you can research to get either more power for your furnace. And frankly, I find the onboard propane furnaces to be very inefficient. There are other things that you can do. And if you want to find out about that or more detail on anything else that I say today, if you go to my playlist in Quartzsite, or there's a playlist on equipment, I have hundreds of videos out there on all kinds of subjects related to this. So know that it's going to be cold, but the scenery is beautiful. The sunsets are often absolutely stunning and incredible, and the interactions with other campers and the relationships that you'll develop being out there are remarkable. I love camping out there in the desert in groups of people that I've just met or people that I've known for years. And so how do you do that if you've never been there before? If you don't know anybody? Well, I have some advice on that. There are, I'll put in the comments Facebook pages for a couple of areas in that are unofficial, because they have to be unofficial, but unofficial groups that allow anybody to come in and join them camping in Ltva South. And I'll put the Facebook pages to them in the description, so you can get in there, you can ask questions, you can get directions to them. The other way is, you can drive out there, get your permit, you're going through the desert in these makeshift little roadways, and you're going to pass groups of RVers that are camping together. If you see people outside as you're driving by, you can stop, roll down your window, wave to them, and ask them, hey, I'm brand new here. Do you have any suggestions on where I can camp? And they might say, hey, you can camp anywhere you want out there. Look at all of open space, and say something maybe that isn't too helpful. But if you try it a few times and you appear to be friendly, you might get an invitation to camp with them, and suddenly you'll make a bunch of new friends. So you can absolutely do that. And many people are successful that are brand new doing that. And I recommend that you give that a try. Do it with a smile on your face, and the community is generally very welcoming. So go ahead and give that a try. I'm still on number one. Actually, now that I look at my list, I combined number one and number two, because number two was BLM land versus Ltva, and I've kind of answered that question. So three, I'll talk a little bit about the 50-plus RV parks that are there. They're fairly inexpensive, especially if you're going to come to stay for the season. They have seasonal rates that are very, very affordable. You'll pay a base rate per month, or a base rate for the whole season. It could be 4 or 5 months. It varies by RV park, and then you'll pay your electric on top of that. And because it's not warm in Quartzsite in the winter, you're not going to have a very high electrical bill, because you will hardly ever be running your AC, or you'll hardly ever need to run your AC. If you keep your windows open, keep fans going, even if it's at 70 degrees, you can keep it cool without AC. But if you need AC, it's going to be available to you in the RV park, and it won't be very expensive. If you decide, hey, I'm just going to go in the peak time, which is January, for a month, the short-term rates for January in particular, and maybe December and February, but certainly January, those rates are very inflated, and it can be hard to even find a spot. So if you think you're going to do that, I would research online and on YouTube various RV parks there, and make a reservation well ahead of time, or you could get there and find it might be tough to find a spot. I prefer not to do RV parks, because I love being in the desert and just going into town. I go into town almost every day all season, but I'm a few miles outside of town. So, getting supplies. What do you do? It's a small town. Well, there are lots of pretty neat resources, and let's talk about groceries. There are 2 major grocery stores, and major, I mean, for a small town. They're small, independently owned grocery stores. One is called the Roadrunner, and the other is called Coyote Fresh, it's called. And they're on the same street, and they're not far from each other. And you're thinking, Coyote, Roadrunner, does that have anything to do with the cartoon? Yes, it does. There's a story behind this. And if you're interested, I certainly have a video. I have a video on Coyote and a video on Roadrunner. And in one of those, I can't remember which one, I talked to a family member of the owner, and they tell the story of how the name happened. And it's not a coincidence. It's the Coyote and the Roadrunner. And I love both these grocery stores equally. Now, some people complain, oh, the prices are high. Well, the prices are going to be higher than Walmart. They don't have an independent grocer in a little town with a population of 2,400 doesn't have the buying power of Walmart or even Dollar General or Family Dollar. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So the prices are, I'd say, moderately higher than a chain grocery store. And it's understandable why they are. One big advantage, though, is the meats in both these stores are very high quality meats. And you'll find the prices aren't that much higher than, I was comparing ribeye prices to the premium ribeyes in Walmart, and the cost per pound was really, really close when I looked last year. But a lot of things are they're still higher. So, but I can give you a strategy to keep your costs down. And here's the strategy. There are what I consider to be 3 classifications of places to buy groceries. The first one is in an area called Tyson Wells. There's a place called Discount Grocery Liquidators. So you go into this place, and they have dry goods, some that are very recently expired or about to expire. That's how they get them for less money. But keep in mind, most dry goods, if it's a recent expiration, it doesn't matter. All you're doing is saving a ton of money. So you can go there first and buy the things that you want, that you know that you need, dry goods, and save a bunch of money there. Then you can go there. There's a Family Dollar and a Dollar General, both on Main Street and opposite sides of Main Street. And again, those chains have buying power. They have the same kind of buying power Walmart has, but they don't have the selection. If you want peanut butter, there may only be 2 kinds instead of 20 kinds. But you're going to save money in those stores significantly. So once I go through the discount liquidators and I go through the dollar store, then I'm ready to go to the independent stores, the Coyote or the Roadrunner. And there's a little bit of sad news here that I want to tell you about, and it'll be meaningful to those of you that already have been going to Quartzsite. A staple in that community has been another discount grocery store on Main Street called Ken's Discount Grocery. And I've been doing a review with Ken's permission every year that I've been coming there. And unfortunately, Ken, this year, after last season, had a stroke, and he's been unable to continue his business, and that business is sadly closed. And my heart is out to Ken and his family. So that is getting supplies for food. There's a ton of places to get propane. There's a ton of places to get gasoline. There's more than one truck stop in there. There's Travel America, there's a Love's, there's lots of places to get gasoline, things like that. And so number 5, that's number 4, getting supplies. 5, restaurants. You wouldn't think in a little town there'd be that many restaurants, or the restaurants would be that good. Well, you'd be wrong. They're great restaurants in Quartzsite. And there are too many here for me to mention, but I'm going to mention one of the most famous ones is called Silly Al's Pizza. And they have amazing pizza, and in the evening they have entertainment. It's just a wonderful place, Silly Al's Pizza. The pizzas, depending on the size, I think I'm safe to say between $20 and $26, whether it's small, medium, or large. And it's during peak season, it's always packed. You can expect to wait quite a while during peak season. And let's talk about that for a minute. If you're going to be in Quartzsite and you're going to be doing stuff in town, like going to a restaurant, getting gas, going to the grocery store in December, January, and February, the first thing that you need to bring with you is your patience. Because if you don't bring your patience with you, you're going to be really frustrated. Keep in mind, this is a population of 2,400 that balloons to over 1 million. These businesses get overwhelmed with volume. So please bring your patience, and bring your patience in your car driving around. Keep in mind, the roads are overwhelmed with traffic during the day, and there are a lot of people that are there for the first time, and they can be easily confused about where they're going, and they can stop unexpectedly, turn unexpectedly. So when it's busy, just increase your vigilance and your patience, and you'll be happy that you did that. There are lots of places. There are good mechanics in town. I get on Google, read reviews. They're good mechanics. There's a truck tire shop that caters to big trucks, and there's a regular tire shop that caters to smaller vehicles, regular vehicles and RVs and things. And you can read Google reviews on them as well. If you need RV service and parts, there's plenty of them. RV Lifestyles is a place that does service and sells RV supplies. They're probably the biggest one there, and I've been doing a lot of business with them for a couple of years, and I highly recommend them. They're smaller ones in town, but if you need a part for your RV, unless it's really super specialized, you'll be able to get it in Quartzsite. You'll be able to get service. Now, there's a couple of solar places that I know about, and that's Discount Solar and Solar Bills. They're on opposite ends of Main Street, and I've done business with both, and I've done reviews on both. You can see the reviews that I've done, and either one of these places will expertly and professionally install a thorough solar system on your rig. And quite often you'll go in, here's how to work. You'll go in and they'll design a system for you. They'll give you a price quote. And if you say, let's go ahead and do that, they'll give you a day to come in. And usually for both of them, even during peak season, you can get in there within a week or so. Solar Bills was telling me during like January, says I can get people in just a few days. So you'll bring it in, and they'll generally, once they'll get all the equipment ordered, and they'll install it probably in a day. And both these businesses, Solar Bills and Discount Solar, are highly reputable. Now, it's not inexpensive, but you pay for what you get. And I would, if you don't know exactly what you're doing electrically, I wouldn't suggest that you try to do your own from scratch solar system. If you make a mistake, you could have devastating consequences like fires. Get a pro, or get a friend that's a pro that really knows what they're doing. Let's see, that was solar shops. Oh, laundromats, there's several of them. My favorite is Main Street Laundry. They have showers in there. Last year it was $11. It may go up again this year, I don't know. But they have showers, they have laundry. There's a little snack bar there that the owner mans. It's right across the street from Roadrunner. My memory is pretty good. So that there's an area called Tyson Wells, and you'll find out it's on Kuhn Street, and you'll find out about that right away, because a lot of it as you drive down is like a sea of businesses and tents as far as the eye can see. All sorts of wonderful people selling food, there's one of my favorites is a kitchen supply place that has all kinds of kitchen gadgets. There's hardware stuff. There's all kinds of, there's artistic things, and it's just wonderful to go there and spend time there. And those businesses start opening in October, and the closer you get to January, the more and more open. And on that same property is what they call the Big Tent Show, or the Big Tent RV Show. And that happens every January, and it is the January 18th through the 26th this year. It is a ginormous tent where everything related to RVs and the RV lifestyle is marketed and sold. It's surrounded by a couple acres of new RVs that they sell, and inside the tent is filled with all kinds of vendors related to camping and RVing. And even if you're a full-time RVer and you want to get jobs like, if you've heard about sort of seasonal jobs you can get, like the beet harvest or camp hosting jobs, things like that. You can go to the big tent there and go early if you want a job, and you can get a job. You can get signed up for a job right there and right then. There are lots of them there. And if you're interested in people watching or RV equipment or RV gadgets, this is the place to go. I don't usually miss a day through the whole RV tent show. It's really, really fun. And it says it's the biggest of its kind anywhere. I don't know if that's true, but if it's not true, they're a contender for sure. Let's see. I haven't been telling you the numbers, but right now I'm on number 8. 7 was the Tyson Wells RV show in the Tyson Wells area. And the RTR, or the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, which was the brainchild of kind of the current father of full-time van and RV living, Bob Wells. And Bob Wells started the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous many, many years ago. He did it out in the desert, and I think the first one, I think, if I remember right, had like 50 people. And then every year it grew faster and faster to, I think it was 2019. It was so big that the BLM official said, you can't do this anymore, it's too many people. So I believe it was 2020, they were out at the La Paz, I want to say campground, but it was like a county fairground place where they had it that year. And then in 2021, I believe they moved to the Quartzsite park that I guess they lease it, they make arrangements for it, so that's where it is now. It's right in the middle of Quartzsite. And I will tell you now and then at the end what the dates are. The women's RTR, just for women's, is the 8th through the 10th, and then the open RTR for everyone is the 11th through the 16th, which puts it right up against the RV show. So when it ends, the RV show goes the next day and you're ready to go to the RV show. So what's the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous? You know, rubber tramps are those of us that live full-time on the road, and we have rubber underneath us. We have wheels, trailers, vans, cars, Class A RVs, Class C RVs, everything that you could possibly think of. And if you want to do this lifestyle, there are lessons that you need to learn. And if you go to the RTR, which is free to go, you will learn all the techniques that there are available. There are workshops and guest speakers that give you, in some cases, hands-on experience on how to do stuff. And it's really fascinating. I was a speaker last year at it, and that's also in my, on my YouTube channel. You can see I talked about emotional health on the road. So you can see that if you go into my playlists and go back to last year, and you can see that. But there are a ton of things to do at this. It's exciting. It's a learning experience. And Bob will be there. He's always there. You can get him to sign a book and take a picture with him. You might have to wait in line a little bit for that to happen. So that's number 8. Number 9 is, what if the options I gave you for shopping and getting stuff don't meet your needs? Well, there are other options. There's towns nearby. Going north, there's Parker, Arizona. And you can hit the Parker line from the middle of Quartzsite in just under an hour, and they have a Walmart there. A lot of people go to Walmart there, so there's access to Walmart in less than an hour. And it's a little bit bigger town there. You can look up online and see what other things are available, but the biggie is Walmart. Now, you can, on I-10, you can head west into California. In a little over 30 minutes, you'll cross the California line and you'll hit a little town called Blythe. And in Blythe, there are a couple of notable grocery stores. There is an Albertsons and is it Shop and Save? Guess what, guys? I'll probably edit this out because I'm gonna look at, I forget what the other one is called. Blythe, and you can do what I'm doing here. Go into Google and type Blythe Grocery. Let's see what we come up with here. I can't remember the name of it. Smart and Finals. I'm sorry, I forgot that. I've only been there once, but people rave about the Smart and Final store. Someone today was telling me they love the produce there. So there's Albertsons and there's Smart and Final. There's also a pharmacy there. I think it's a Rite Aid pharmacy. There is a pharmacy also in Quartzsite. It's very small, it has limited hours, but there is a pharmacy in Quartzsite that you'll be able to find. And then the big dog is Yuma, Arizona. You go south on 95 out of Quartzsite in around about an hour, depending if there's any traffic or construction, about an hour and 15 minutes, you're gonna be in Yuma. And Yuma, in comparison to the other places, is huge. There are multiple Walmarts there. That tells you about the size of Yuma, and multiple grocery stores and Home Depot, and you can get just about anything you want in Yuma. Okay, let's go back to the list. And that brings me to number 10, which is related to Yuma, because you got to go through Yuma to get there. There's Los Algodones, Mexico. So what's special about that? There's a lot special about that. Los Algodones, Mexico, you drive through Yuma, you go to the border. You can drive across, but I don't know anyone that does that, because there's a parking lot that you can park in and walk across the border into this little town called, and it's Los Algodones, but people usually just refer to it as Algodones. And what's special about Algodones? Well, one, if you worry about safety, it's safe. There's National Guard and police everywhere, because 99.9% of their economy are people like us walking across and spending money, so they don't want anything to happen bad to anyone there, ever. So they take extra precautions, and it's a real small area, just a few square blocks. So what's special? It is the highest concentration of dental practices on the planet. And that's a bold statement, and I believe it's true, because the prices are a fraction the cost of dental work that you get in the United States. Is it risk-free? Well, no, it's not. It's not risk-free for the dental work, because even dentists in the United States, it's not risk-free. So number one is, if you can get a solid personal recommendation for a dentist, for someone that's had serious work done, do that. Otherwise, read reviews and study. In many of the places, a big barrier is language. So you need to be careful there about how you communicate. Have I had work done? Yes, I've had extensive work done. My first year, I had over $1,000 worth of root canal and crowns done, and it was about $1,500, which included 7 cavities and two crowns and a bridge, and a lot of work. Now, I'll tell you that when I came back the next year, there was a problem with the work that they did. Well, they had a 1-year warranty. I went and they redid the work for free. So I wouldn't call that I'd call that maybe an unfortunate, inconvenient experience, but it cost me time and not money. So, look for a guarantee for at least a year, especially if you're going to come back. So also, see these glasses? These glasses, they're, I can see through my astigmatism, and it's also a reader when I look down, and it was about $100. So there's a ton of optometry places there that'll give you a free exam and sell you glasses, roundabout plus and minus around $100 for glasses, and it's well worth. I have several pairs. Let's see, that's Algodones. Oh, and great food. Inexpensive, great Mexican food there. So that was number 10. So it said I have 11 things. And last year, the title you might know was 10 Things You Need to Know. And this is 11. And 11 is about getting packages. If you're there for any period of time and you want to use Amazon and you want stuff sent to you, if you're not in an RV park, usually in an RV park you can get stuff sent to you at the RV park and it's not a problem. But if you're like me and you're boondocking out there, there are not too many alternatives. There are 3 businesses now that I know of: BCM Mail, there's Ironwood Outpost, and the newest one is Moon Mountain Mail. And the people at Moon Mountain Mail are going to go, Rob, you had to look at your phone to remember us? Because I was a fixture in their first year of operation last year. I signed up for them right away, and they did a phenomenal job, and I was there almost every day. So they're going to go, Rob, you had to look at your phone? Well, you know, amazing thing's going to happen this winter in Quartzsite is I'm going to turn 65. So I have a little bit of an excuse to have a little bit of a little brain fog there. But the post office, under most circumstances, is a bad idea. One is they're not going to accept packages from Amazon through UPS or FedEx unless you have a post office box there. I have a friend of mine that did that, and she said it was fine. She got a post office box there. I asked her, did you have to wait in line a lot? And she kind of downplayed that. She said it wasn't really that big a deal. I'm happy with it. And I'll be curious to see if she comes out again this year and does it again. At Moon Mountain Mail, if you pay their annual fee, and I think it was last year, I think I paid $79 or $89. Don't quote me. I'm going to have links to them and you can look at their rates. They have you sign federal forms for post office stuff, so you can get USPS packages, FedEx, and UPS. Now here's a trap some people fall into, because they recognize that, hey, I don't have to pay that annual thing. I can pay per package at Moon Mountain Mail. Well, you can for UPS and FedEx, but if you're not signed up with them on one of their plans and have those federal post office forms filled out, you cannot get post office delivered there. The post office, let's say you order something on Amazon and you really can't control whether they use UPS or post office. If they use post office, they're going to send that package back. You're not going to get it. It's going to get returned to the sender. So for me, it was a no-brainer for 2 reasons. One, it didn't matter who sent it to me. I know it's going to be delivered. And actually, the post office in Quartzsite, they don't deliver to anybody. Residents is anybody. There's no delivery service at all. So like Moon Mountain Mail has their own box where everything's delivered, and every day they go and pick up the stuff. And they do screen to make sure that the packages coming in through the United States Postal Service is you need to be a registered person there through Moon Mountain. So don't make that mistake. The other advantage that you have, if you use I don't know if they've changed that this year, their second tier, they'll notify you when your package is ready to be picked up. Well, why is that important? If you can be impatient to get the gadget that I ordered and I see Amazon said, hey, they just delivered it, I can't just go to them and say, give it to me, because they have a high volume of packages and it may take them 24 hours to sort through everything and have it be available. Because if I come too soon, they're going to kindly tell me, hey, you need to come back when we've gone through everything, because they're not magicians. They have to go through hundreds of packages a day. So when it is ready, I get a notification from them. I get an email that says your package is ready to be picked up. So that really makes it worth it to me. Now, I have had BCM, and there are pluses and minuses to that. I think it's fair to say I was happier with the Moon Mountain Mail location. It's closer into town. The parking was better. And the other one, I'll put all 3 in the description. The Ironwood Outpost, I haven't had direct experience with, but they're in town too. They have adequate parking. It was hard to determine what their prices were from their website. That might have improved this year, I'm not sure. But hopefully this has been everything you need or wanted to know about Quartzsite before you head out there. And I got to tell you, I love Quartzsite. I go every year. I arrive around the middle of November and I stay till March. And I just love camping in the desert with my old friends and making new friends. So if you're one of my subscribers and you come out there, you know, send a message on, put a comment on Facebook, or my email is ROBWAKELEY, Rob Wakely at gmail.com. Say, hey, I'm in Quartzsite. I'd like to meet for coffee or lunch, and I'll do my best to accommodate you because I love meeting people that watch my channel because I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. So comments, ask questions. I'll do my best to answer them. And I hope you enjoyed this year's Quartzsite video as much as people enjoyed the one from last year. Take care and see you on the road, maybe in Quartzsite.